Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell on the 10th of August 2019. At 6:30 in the morning, staff found him dead in what the FBI determined was a suicide. His family got another autopsy done and they determined that it was not. He was found unresponsive in his cell in the special housing unit, and he was transferred to hospital with life-threatening injuries and subsequently died. Epstein had pleaded not guilty to sex trafficking and conspiracy charges last month and was being held without bail. The charges that Epstein faced were paying girls under the age of 18 to perform sex acts at his Manhattan and Florida mansions between the dates of 2002 and 2005. He was arrested on the 6th of July after landing in New Jersey on his private jet. He avoided similar charges in a controversial secret plea deal in 2008, and he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge. So he was already a convicted sex offender, and we will talk about that later on in this video. And the prosecution has even found flight documents listing some very powerful people. And following the revelations back in 2016 by Virginia Guthrie, who claimed to be sex trafficked by Ghislaine Maxwell for Epstein, and she had had sex with Prince Andrew. This dragged in the royal family, and 8 months ago Prince Andrew did an interview with the BBC where he said that he would help the FBI with any of their inquiries and would be willing to speak to them. But since then he has refused to speak to the FBI, and has refused, even upon request, to go to America. And following the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and she has now been charged, she was found by police in a New Hampshire address. Ghislaine Maxwell was under protection of ex-British soldiers when she was arrested by the FBI. Maxwell, who was denied bail on Tuesday, entrusted former military personnel in a New Hampshire mansion where she was arrested on the 2nd of July. One ex-soldier, according to court documents, told the FBI that he used Maxwell's credit card to shop for supplies so she did not have to leave the house and risk detection. The guards were hired by her brother and worked in rotation. The British socialite is facing up to 35 years in prison over allegations she recruited young girls for Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse back in the 1990s. Government prosecutor Alison Moe said on Tuesday that Maxwell had been willing to hide herself and disguise her identity before her arrest. FBI agents had to break down the door to enter her property, and the prosecution says she purchased the property under the alias Janet Marshall. The 58-year-old was located by FBI agents in an interior room with her mobile phone wrapped in foil to evade authorities, they say. Through a window, the agents saw the defendant ignore the direction to open the door and instead tried to flee to another room in the house, and she quickly shut the door behind her. The agents said they broke down that door and arrested Maxwell, who was described in court as an extreme flight risk with international ties and a strong incentive to flee. Miss Maxwell was placed in police custody until her trial, which is scheduled for next year in America. The prosecution identified 15 different bank accounts associated to Maxwell from 2016 to the present day, with amounts ranging from hundreds of thousands of pounds to 20 million. And Jeffrey Epstein was estimated to be worth £500 million. He originally was a teacher and then he got into finance, and his main source of income was managing the assets of the rich and famous. He was once described by the President of the United States, Donald Trump. He was referred to as a terrific guy. And what has emerged today is that documents, hundreds of documents relating to this case, have now been released by the court. These are different accusations made by the prosecution, FBI and witnesses relating to this case. And what I also found as well was this footage in Jeffrey Epstein's house, one of his houses. He had lots of houses that was covered in naked pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell. The court's main witness is Virginia Roberts, but there is several claims against Epstein before he died. But newly released documents claim that the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, lobbied the US government for his former friend Jeffrey Epstein to secure a favourable deal in the disgraced late financier's underage prostitution case. More light has been shed on Prince Andrew's relationship with the convicted sex offender. Virginia Roberts claimed to have been forced to have sex with Prince Andrew, and she was sex trafficked to London by Jeffrey Epstein and Miss Maxwell when she was 17 years old. She claimed to have been recruited by Maxwell in the year 2000 as a sex slave for Epstein and was pressured to have sex with US politicians, wealthy entrepreneurs, famous scientists, and also a fashion designer. The Duke and the accused men, also Maxwell, have denied all the allegations. But a photo emerged of Prince Andrew with his arm around Miss Guthrie in a mansion in London. And Prince Andrew's excuse for this in his interview was that he believed it was photoshopped. Two of Epstein's victims are only known as Jane Doe 1 and 2, and it's only Virginia Roberts that actually been named. They alleged that the paedophile depended on his high-profile friends to keep him secure. They appealed for the release of the documents in the case, as the prosecution say these materials are needed to prove the allegations that he is connected to the Epstein case. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor for prostitution as part of a secret sweetheart deal offered by Florida prosecutors. He was sentenced to 13 months in jail, and he spent most of that outside of prison. I don't know how that works or makes sense. He was even allowed to go to the office every day. As a result of the scandal, Andrew sought to distance himself from Epstein. After he was released from prison in 2010, the Duke was pictured spending time with his former friend and said in an interview it was a mistake and an error. These new documents reveal email correspondence also between Maxwell and Epstein. They contain claims from Miss Victoria Roberts, the main witness, that Miss Maxwell had sex with girls as young as 15. Two documents they've managed to block, but most of them have been released by the court. And there's a lot of evidence in these cases. The witnesses are going very in-depth and they're very descriptive. So as regular viewers of the channel will know, I've covered this story for over a year now, and I'll continue to cover it in the future. There's a lot of documents that we need to get through, and I'll definitely do some more in the next coming days. So I really appreciate you joining me today. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.